The sacrificial platform jutted over the angry sea. Kaito clutched the rusty harpoon, watching the village chief lift his knife above Saki.
Sea gods, we offer this girl. Keep your wrath from our shores.
Deny them. The gods have no claim here. Break the chain.
A voice from the harpoon? That's impossible, but I felt it.
The sea erupted. A monstrous enforcer, all tentacles and teeth, rose to claim the sacrifice, its many eyes fixed on Saki. Kaito didn't think. He lunged forward, hurling the harpoon with a roar that wasn't quite human. The barb pierced the enforcer's core, not flesh. It severed something deeper. The creature unraveled like mist, the ocean recoiling.
Blasphemer, you have broken the pact. This boy has doomed us all.
Before the village could seize him, Kaito leaped into a skiff and pushed into the rising storm, the brand on his chest still smoking.
To wound a god, you must offer a fragment of your soul.
A fragment of my soul. What did I just sacrifice?
This harpoon was carved from the skeleton of a god killer. It has devoured divine essence before.
Kaito felt it then, a hollowness in his chest where something vital had been. The harpoon had taken its price. Desperate, he hurled the harpoon into the waves, wanting to rid himself of the cursed thing, but the harpoon only vanished beneath the foam and reappeared in his grip, colder than before.
The Leviathan King will not forgive this insult. He will drown your village in retribution.
I saved Saki, but condemned them all. What have I done?
He understood now. The harpoon was bound to him, and there was no throwing it aside.
You have no choice, boy. Face the Leviathan and pay the price, or watch your village burn.
Then I'll find a way to stop him, without losing myself entirely.
The storm finally spat him onto a barren island. Kaito collapsed, the harpoon still in hand.
Now see what you hold, boy. Witness the death of a god killer.
A vision tore through his mind. A winged colossus struck by divine lightning, crashing into the sea. Then he saw the carving, the harpoon he now held, shaped from the killer's own bones, runes binding its essence.
With this weapon, you could end the tyranny of the gods. No more sacrifices, absolute power.
But at what price? It already turned me into a blasphemer. It fed on my soul.
Your village will drown within days. The Leviathan's wrath is unstoppable. Only by killing can you save them.
Number, I won't become a killer. There has to be another way.
Alone on the island, he stared at the weapon that promised salvation and destruction in equal measure.
I'll find it, even if I have to face the abyss itself.
But before the storm, before the sacrifice, Kaito was the lowest soul in his village. He hauled nets, while others mocked his delusions.
They called it worthless, this rusty harpoon. But I knew. I felt it in the deep.
He found it in a shipwreck, half buried. When his fingers wrapped the haft, a cold pulse rippled through his bones, denying the divine.
It was the only thing that ever listened, the only thing that promised I could be more than bait for the sea.
His father had taught him to respect the sea, but never to bow to it. That lesson became his anchor. Now, stranded on that island, Kaito rose. The harpoon, the only thing that had ever believed him, pulled him to his feet.
It's not a curse, it's a chance to end their fear forever.
He pushed his skiff back into the churning sea, the harpoon pointing toward the dark horizon, no longer fleeing.
Leviathan King, I am coming for you.
The fisherman's son, once mocked, now sailed toward the abyss with a god killer in his grip. Among the wreckage, Kaito spotted a man clinging to driftwood, gaunt, eyes hollow, with old grief. The old man rasped of his own village, devoured after they defied the sea gods decades ago. He was the last. He pointed at the harpoon. That weapon holds a spirit, a remnant of a god killer. It craves resurrection through divine blood.
He speaks truth. I am Oros. I will be whole again.
It will never allow a binding, only kill, and each kill will devour more of your soul. the old man warned.
So there's no way to trap a god without becoming a monster.
The old man closed his eyes. The harpoon has its own will. Break the cycle, or be broken.
You cannot escape me. I will have the Leviathan's essence, one way or another.
Then I'll have to find a way to trap you both, even if it costs me everything.
Kato left the old man behind, the harpoon's weight heavier than before. He now knew the spirit inside was as much a foe as the god ahead. The sea grew unnaturally still, and the harpoon pulsed with a cold, hungry light.
Imagine a world without gods. No more sacrifices. You could stand as its hero, Kaito.
But the vision twisted. Him on a throne of bones, the village bowing in terror, not gratitude.
He remembered Saki's eyes as the knife rose, wide with a fear no hero should inspire.
Killing gods wouldn't break the cycle. It would just put me at the top of the food chain.
Then your village dies. The Leviathan is hours from your shore. I can taste its wrath.
A tremor ran through the hull, not waves, but something vast and furious awakening below.
If I can't kill, and I can't flee, then I'll have to do the impossible. Bind a god.
Bind. The harpoon is not a cage. It is a key to liberation. Your soul is the lock.
Kato tightened his grip, the harpoon humming with impatience. The hunt had begun. A mutated sea serpent burst from the water, scales shimmering with divine taint. Kaito saw an opportunity.
If I can bind a lesser creature, maybe I can control the harpoon's hunger.
He thrust the harpoon, willing it to bind, not kill. The runes flared, but the spirit inside laughed.
You cannot command me. Every wound requires a toll. Another shard of your fading soul.
Another fragment. Gone. I can feel myself thinning.
The serpent dissolved, its essence greedily absorbed. Kaito collapsed in the skiff, the harpoon's laughter echoing in his mind.
Only a true god's death can satisfy me, boy. Your foolish mercy will kill you long before that.
The sea showed no mercy. Waves swept him from the boat, tossing him onto a rocky shore marked with ancient symbols. A figure emerged from the cave, an old woman leaning on a staff, her eyes piercing the gloom. She did not speak at first, only stared at the harpoon, as if reading its long, bloody history. The hermit traced the harpoon's runes with a trembling finger. Then she spoke in a voice like cracking stone. Binding is possible, but your will must outweigh the spirit's. You must become the prison, the harpoon fused to your soul. The god and the spirit will be trapped inside you, and the spirit will never stop trying to possess you.
A cage? You would trap me in this mortal shell? I will tear free and feast on your soul.
Then I'll be the lock. If it keeps the sea calm and the village safe, I'll pay any price.
The spirit screamed, but Kaito's silence was louder. He bowed to the hermit and turned toward the churning tide.
No more running. I am the harpoon now. I am the cage.
He walked into the waves, the water swirling around his knees, the harpoon a beacon in the storm. The hermit watched until the storm swallowed him. The fisherman's son was gone. Only a living prison remained, and the harpoon, glowing with malice and hope, pulled him toward the abyss. The abyss swallowed him whole. Bioluminescent creatures lit his descent like dying stars. Through the murk, he glimpsed the surface, a massive wall of water crashing toward his village.
Number Saki. The wave hit. I felt their fear, but I can't let anger take the wheel.
Your village drowns. Their souls cry for vengeance. Kill the god and avenge them.
Avenge? That would make me just another tyrant. I'll bind, not break.
He recited the hermit's steps in his mind, each word a shield against the spirit's poison. The water grew colder, and ancient ruins loomed before him, cyclopean pillars and glyphs of dead gods. Then the pressure of a vast consciousness pressed down, the Leviathan's awareness ancient and furious.
So this is the bottom, the heart of the god. I am not afraid. I am the cage.
And from the abyss, a voice like thunder and regret Who dares enter my domain? The harpoon shrieked, and a shadow tore free, a skeletal form with a crown of broken bone.
I am Oros, the god killer. Eons ago I shattered a pantheon, but my spirit was bound to this weapon.
A vision seared Kaito's mind, Oros's colossal skeleton being carved into the harpoon by ancient hands.
Now I need a host. Kill the Leviathan with me, and your soul will be spared. We will rule as one.
A deal. The hermit warned. He'd never share power. He wants my body. All right, Oros. Let's end this god.
At last, strike the heart when the abyss opens.
But Kaito's grip shifted, aiming not for the god's life, but for the binding seal only he could receive.
I'll play the mortal puppet and trap the puppeteer.
The harpoon pulsed with eager hunger, oblivious to the fisherman's true design. The darkness coiled into a titanic shape, scales of abyssal blue, eyes burning like dying suns. The Leviathan king revealed himself fully.
A mortal with a god-killer's fang. You carry Oros's stench. Did you come to die for his ambition?
Enough talk. Strike the heart. Pierce it now, and let my essence flow into you.
Saki's face flashed before me. She didn't want a killer. Neither did I. I didn't come to kill, Leviathan. I came to bind you, to cage the sea without blood on my hands.
Betrayal. Then I'll turn your own hand against you.
Oros's shadow wrenched Kaito's arm, the harpoon's tip veering toward the god's heart. Muscles tore, but Kaito held the line.
Bind me. Your soul will crack like driftwood on my reefs.
A crushing wave slammed into him, but Kaito drove the harpoon's butt into the stone floor, refusing to release. The fisherman's grit met the god's fury, with a spirit clawing for control. The true trial of binding had begun. The Leviathan thrashed, sending pressurized water like blades. Kaito parried with the harpoon, each impact stealing another fragment of his soul.
Stop. The binding will unravel us both. Anchor it with your essence, or we are all undone.
Oros's cry unveiled the hermit's true meaning. The prison demanded a lock forged from the warden's own soul.
I knew it would come to this. If my soul is the key, then so be it.
With a cry that was half prayer, Kaito tore a shard of his very self and drove it into the harpoon. Runes ignited along the haft, chains of starlight spiraling outward, weaving around the Leviathan's colossal form. The Leviathan paused, its fury eclipsed by disbelief. The chains latched onto its essence, not to kill, but to cage.
Shackles? A mortal dares to chain me? This insolence will drown you, boy.
You will not bind me in this prison. I will shred your soul and take your flesh.
Kaito felt his soul fraying to a thread, but the chains held firm. The binding had begun, irreversible, as the tide. The binding chains constricted, but the Leviathan's thrashing tore at Kaito's soul. He screamed, vision blurring.
I will not be caged. If you won't kill, then I'll make you. The heart, now.
Number. The heart is death. The forehead. That's the seat of his authority. Bind there.
Muscles screamed, but Kaito locked his elbow and forced the harpoon back, away from the raging heart. With a roar that drowned the abyss, Kaito hurled the harpoon, not at the heart, but at the god's glowing forehead.
Aim for what makes him a god, not what makes him a beast. You would sever my crown. Insolent mortal, I will unmake your soul.
The harpoon struck the center of the Leviathan's brow, and the world became silent light.
No, not the mind. You'll trap my will with his.
Kaito collapsed, the harpoon now fused to his hand, the binding complete, but at a cost he could barely measure. The Leviathan's colossal form distorted, its edges bleeding light as the harpoon voraciously pulled its essence inside.
My power, my domain. You cannot contain me, mortal husk.
Then I will shatter this cage from within. If I am to be a ghost, so will you.
Kaito's body convulsed as Oros turned the binding energy inward, seeking to unmake his very soul. But his hands, calloused from years of hauling nets, gripped the harpoon with the memory of a fisherman's creed.
The sea takes, but a fisherman endures. Father, I won't let go.
With a roar, Kaito shoved his own will into the harpoon, a wave of pure grit overwhelming Oros's attack.
No, I am Oros, the Pantheon breaker. A fisherman cannot.
The Leviathan's roar became a gurgle as its essence drained, the chains retracting into the harpoon's silent metal. Kaito floated, the harpoon still fused, his soul frayed to a thread. But the abyss was silent.
Release me, and your village will be spared. Rich tides, eternal peace, just unlock this cage. Peace? I remember the screams of the sacrificed. I remember Saki's fear. You fed on us. The sea belongs to no god. No more sacrifices. You will stay bound forever.
The harpoon's runes flared one final time, sucking the last luminescent threads of the Leviathan into its metal.
This is not the end. I am the eternal tide. You cannot contain.
The ocean stilled. Waves flattened to glass, the storm draining into silence. Kaito started to sink, the harpoon clutched to his chest, his body limp, his eyes open but empty.
The sea is free. I did it, Saki. Father, the nets are empty, but the chains are broken.
Inside the harpoon, the Leviathan's essence coiled in silent rage, locked beside the muted shadow of Oros. Kaito sank, a living prison for a silenced god. His last thought, the calm surface, the children's laughter. But Oros made one final lunge, a tendril of shadow slithering into Kaito's ear, seeking the last spark of his will. In the half-dream of drowning, Kaito's hands remembered, weaving a net, each knot a piece of his soul.
One knot for the god, one for the spirit, and one to hold me here.
He cast the net over the raging Leviathan and the screaming shadow, binding them tight within the harpoon. Oros's shriek died into a whisper, then silence. The harpoon's malevolence faded. Flesh and metal merged fully. The harpoon, now a permanent extension of Kaito's arm. Kaito's body went limp, his resistance spent. The current caught him, pulling him toward the distant light. The harpoon rested against his chest, a silent weight, its runes dull.
Hold the line, Father. I held the line.
And the fisherman's son, the lowest soul, drifted toward the surface, a living prison with a silent god. Kaito woke with a violent cough, seawater spilling from his lungs. The harpoon's metal was warm against his fused palm. Saki rushed forward but stopped short, her joy turning to dread at the hollow emptiness in his eyes.
Kaito, your hand, the harpoon, it's part of you.
The village chief pushed through the crowd, but before he could speak, Kaito raised the harpoon. A low rumble emanated from the weapon, shaking the chief to his core. He stumbled back, silenced by its divine echo. The villagers gathered in awe and terror, no longer seeing the lowly fisherman they once mocked.
They see a monster now. Maybe they're right. I feel nothing anymore.
Kaito, please, come back to us. The village is safe, but you are alone.
I can't. The sea belongs to no god now, but I am its chain. I have to stay apart.
And so, the fisherman's son turned away, facing the endless calm, a living prison with a silenced god buried in his chest. The village chief, his shame evident, approached with a ceremonial robe, a symbol of honor he once denied Kaito.
Kaito, you saved us. Wear this. Lead us. You are worthy.
I am no hero. I am a cage. The gods will not forget. And you must never touch this harpoon. Give me a small skiff. Some provisions. I will patrol the coast alone, far from you.
But Kaito, you don't have to be alone. We can help you bear this burden.
Number. If I stay, the harpoon's curse might fall on you. I am its keeper now. Only I.
Saki wept, but Kaito did not turn back. He waded into the shallows, the harpoon glinting in the fading light. The villagers watched in silence, their former scapegoat now a mythic sentinel fading into the glassy horizon. And from his small skiff, Kaito looked upon the calm sea, knowing that beneath the surface, a god's rage simmered. But the fisherman's son, the lowest soul, had become the guardian of the tide, and he would hold the line. Days passed. Kaito drifted alone, the harpoon silent. Then, a faint roar vibrated through its metal, deep and impotent. He raised the harpoon, and a small wave before him froze mid-motion. The sea obeyed his will. A jolt of pain shot through him, and the harpoon's runes flickered. The god was not docile. In the distance, fishermen cast their nets on a sea unnaturally calm. Their safe bounty, his doing.
They think the sea is free, but I feel it. The Leviathan testing his cage every moment.
The harpoon pulsed, a reminder of the divine prisoner. Each use drained him, but it was the only way.
His rage is my constant companion now. Not a whisper, but a roar that never sleeps.
He realized then, he was not just a prison. He was the warden, and the key hung around his throat. The calm sea was his doing, but every flat wave cost him a little more of what he had left, and so he became the silent sentinel, the prison walker, the fisherman who held the line between the calm and the cataclysm. Under a full moon that silvered the glassy sea, Saki swam through the cold water toward his skiff.
Kaito, you don't have to carry this alone. Come back to us. Please, we need you.
Kaito raised his fused hand, blue cracks snaking up his arm, the harpoon pulsing like a second heart.
See this? If I return to shore, the sea will swallow the cage. The Leviathan will break free. I can't risk that. Her tears are salt on the water. But my soul is already too thin. One slip and the god escapes.
Saki's fingers slipped from the gunwale. She understood. The boy she knew was gone, replaced by a warden.
Then, I'll make sure no one forgets. The silent warden. Our harvest will honor you.
He watched her return, the distance growing. A single tear traced his cheek and dripped into the unending calm.
Hold the line, Kaito. That is all you are now. A line between the deep and the dead.
And so, the legend of the silent warden grew, a solitary figure who held the peace at the cost of his own heart. Each dawn, Kaito walked the shoreline alone, his footprints the only mark on the glass-smooth sand. He had accepted his fate, a living prison, a warden without walls, but a warden nonetheless. Village children played in the shallows, their laughter a balm on the salted air. Fishermen hauled full nets, a daily miracle he maintained at the cost of his own soul.
They're safe. It's worth it. Every frayed thread of me.
Then the current twisted, a cold, unnatural swirl that betrayed something vast moving beneath. Far out to sea, dark clouds massed, and a low rumble echoed, not thunder, but a divine voice, hungry and aware.
They found me. The Pantheon stirs. They want back what I stole.
He planted the harpoon in the sand, the metal humming with captive fury, and faced the growing shadows. The warden awaited the gods. The fisherman's son would hold the line. Kaito's hand tightened on the haft, the metal creaking under the strain of the contained god within. The storm clouds swirled, threaded with malevolent light, God's eyes peering through the veil, ancient and hungry. His face was weathered now, carved by salt and sacrifice, but the fire in his hollow eyes was undimmed.
I am the lock, the key, the line, and I will not break.
The harpoon's runes ignited, a captive god's power pulsing a warning into the darkening sky.
They come.
The sea around him lay unnaturally flat, a testament to the warden's unyielding will. Behind him, the sacrificial platform stood empty, a monument to a fear now shackled within his very bones. Kaito raised the harpoon to the storm, a lone silhouette against the swirling pantheon, and the sea held its breath. The fisherman's son, once the lowest, now the eternal warden, the line would hold